This Henos the Sport bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping a foot on the wood on the next. We keeping a foot on the wood on the next. And like the Tibetan master that I am, I'm applying what on limited pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts pipes. Let's talk about it, man. Bob Arum. And the prediction king structure, bro. And the prediction king structure, bro. Henos the Sport's going to break this down in a very raw and an uncut edition. Bob Arum is feeling the mighty Manondir. He's feeling the stormbreaker of how the old car salesman, aka Shiesty motherfucker version of himself, has backfired. Bob Arum has to understand the underlying current and the underlying truths. Malcolm X talked about this. And he said it so many years ago when he was referencing JFK's, assassination. And he said the chickens have come to roost. And we know that Elijah Muhammad sat him down and basically silenced him for a period of time because he told a cold-hearted, he told an unadulterated, and he told a cutthroat truth teller fashion. Well, Henos the Sport's been telling you guys this because Henos the Sport is the ultimate truth teller. And Bob Arum is feeling some type of way. His old car salesman got them feeling some type of way. Being a shiesty motherfucker got him feeling some type of way. Old car salesman and shiesty motherfucker got him feeling some type of way. And we got to bridge it some type of way. He's feeling some type of way because he did Oscar De La Hoya's ass the fuck up. He did Manny Pacquiao's ass the fuck up. And contrary to how we want to see it, we don't want to see it. We don't want to admit it. We want to be polarized about it. He did Floyd Mayweather's ass the fuck up too because Floyd is still trying to get money from his ass. But Floyd was smart enough, unlike these other motherfuckers, to not continuously get done the fuck up. So he left before the dunning of the fucking up can continue to happen. But this super duper hype job variation and his father chapping their gums in super duper hype job variation fashion. Henos the Sport told you guys this stuff. And Henos the Sport is Nostradamus. The Henos the Sport seer mode is flawless victory. And what did he say? He told you guys in the Henos the Sport truth serum that this guy right here was a cancer to boxing. And i.e. the super duper hype job variation in Teofimo Lopez. Henos the Sport told you guys that if this kid fuck around and get the belts, he's going to be a problem. And look what he's been. He's been a thorn in Bob Arum's thistle. Let me say it again. He's been a thorn in Bob Arum's thistle. Now Bob Arum wants to take his ass to court. Now he's right in doing that because he can enact. You see, business 101. When you are the person that has what we would say the vice principalship of the signature of the pen of a contract, you can take the motherfucker to court and sue him for everything. If Bob Arum wants, he could ensure that Teofimo Lopez's boxing career turns to shit because he could halt Teofimo Lopez from fighting. And Teofimo Lopez cannot just jump. See, this is what these Rudy Poo and Plum Plum brings. Classic Dalton troglodytes. Ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric don't get. He can't just jump from ship to ship to ship. So the whole thing with Thriller or Triller, however the fuck you want to say their name, you tell me how you want to say it. But the thing with them is he's still being given basically permission from Bob Arum to do what he wants to do. Bob Arum's still going to get his top rank cut. That's why Bob Arum signed, sealed, approved, and authorized it. But even if this stuff goes, Bob Arum still takes the L because Bob Arum did not listen to Henos the Sport. That's bringing you that heat and that fire. And keeping a foot on the what on the Knicks. And keeping the foot on the what on the Knicks. And like the Tibetan master that he is, he's applying what? Unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts his pipes. If he would have listened to Henos the Sport and he would allow this fight to play out the way it was, didn't allow boxing judges and gifting decisions to happen to bribe and rob Vasily Lomachenko, then Teofimo Lopez would be bending the proverbial fucking knee and kissing the ring while you at it to Bob Arum. He would be exposed. He would be exploited. Because when it's all said and done, when a fight is that close, you did not do enough to beat the champion. So hence, you should not walk away with the belts. Now, of course, you got to run that motherfucker back because it's a controversial fight nevertheless. But what did Teofimo Lopez do? He said he was going to get Vasily Lomachenko's ass up out of there in 6 rounds. What happened? Did that happen? His dad said he would quit boxing. He would quit boxing as a trainer / manager. And I don't want to hear this Rudy Poo and Plum Plum Brain, classic Doden Troglodyte, ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric nonsense of, oh, well, in fighting, they just talk the talk, man. I don't want to hear that. Stop the presses and pump the brakes on the nonsense. Go sit down somewhere and what? Higgity fucking hush. I don't want to hear it. Because when you say something, when a man says something, then they have to have confidence, purpose, and abundance mindset to enact and follow through on what they say. And if you say you're going to quit, if your son doesn't stop him in 6, then motherfucker, quit. Your rabbit ass should quit. So where's the quit? See, this is the quid pro quo that these super duper hype job variation fanboys don't want to mention. This is what we would say the lack of equal opportunity that these super duper hype job variation fanboys don't want to mention. Whether their last name is a Gonzalez or whether if it's their last name is a Lopez or whether their last name is a Gutierrez. All you see is super duper hype job variation fanboys have one thing in common. It's a Hispanic name. And they want to feel some type of way because Hinos Sport is telling them the most cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth teller fashion, which is as simple as this, that once a super duper hype job variation, always a super duper hype job variation. What did Maya Angelou tell us? When a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them. So why did you not listen, Bob Arum? But see, I don't believe it's because Bob Arum didn't listen. And I'm not going to put it on the fact that he's old and fucking senile. I'm going to put it on the fact and the strength of the chickens have come to roost. You see, when you do people so bad for so long, karma has its way of finding your rabbit ass. When you do people so bad for so long, the chickens have to fucking come to roost. And it's so interesting that it's happening with this super duper hype job variation. You would have thought that it would happen with somebody else. But see, the man above is no respecter of persons. And when you do people wrong, it don't matter who it comes back, in what form it comes back in. Even if it's a super duper hype job variation, it's going to come to pass in some form, some facet, some variation, in some aspect. And this is what's happening. See, the super duper hype job variation had the ultimate mindset along with his dad to be bona fide duckers. See, this is why boxing fan bases are not keeping that same energy. Hispanic community fan bases are the worst community fan bases in boxing. Mexican community fan bases are the worst community fan bases in boxing because they want their cake and they want to eat it too. When it's their fucking fighters, they will argue and make excuses up and down. You got a cinnamon dust of a horchata of an Alvarez that's ducking free smoke, that does not want to fight elite black competition. Then you got this super duper hype job variation ducking Devin Haney, ducking the rematch, the run it back with Vasily Lomachenko, ducking anything that looks like heavyweight lifting the notion, and wants to fight a George Kambosos Jr. Who the fuck is that? Wants to sit here and basically say that the franchise belt. You see, this is why boxing community fan bases, they don't keep that same energy, because this is not just a Spanish community fan base thing. He knows the sport, try to talk all these rabbit ass, Rudy fucking Poo, Plum Plum fucking Brains, classic fucking Dotes, Troglo fucking Dykes, ultra fucking fanboys with the ultra fucking fanboy rhetorics off the damn ledge, but they wouldn't fucking listen. But a prophet is not honored in his own home. And those whom they've rejected became the chief cornerstone. So greatness personification can only be hindered. The motherfucker can't be stopped. So when he knows his sport tells you something and he knows his sport truth serum, gobble that thing up like a turkey, because it's going to come to pass. And what these motherfuckers are realizing is that he knows the sport seer mode is flawless victory. And what's happening right now? What is this super duper hype job variation doing right now? He's being what he's always been from day one, a super duper hype job variation. You didn't know he was a super duper hype job variation from Masayoshi Nakatani? You didn't know he was a super duper hype job variation from the way that he told you he was going to drop Vasily Lomachenko in 6 rounds, but yet the fight went 12 rounds and we saw Vasily Lomachenko in the second half of the fight warming up? What happened to that? You see, if this was Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, because I'm likening it to that shit. In the second half of that fight, Andre Ward did his fucking thing. And we gave Andre Ward all of the credit, but we're not keeping that same energy with Vasily Lomachenko in the second half of the fight. He turned the shit up. It's because so many motherfuckers was adverse to Vasily Lomachenko. We got to call a spade here. We got to keep it real. We got to keep it a buck. We got to keep it 100. And if we're being gangster with this shit, we have to be grimy as fuck. And we got to be gully. And the gulliness of it is as simple as this. That they had an aversion to Vasily Lomachenko because they saw him as the great white hope. But guess what? Floyd always respected Vasily Lomachenko. And Vasily Lomachenko never got sideways. Never said no bullshit and fuck shit that he was greater than Floyd. He never let that shit come out of his mouth. He had so much respect for Floyd Mayweather. And so much so that he said that he would have to learn under the schoolmaster and the tutorship of Floyd Money Mayweather to learn his impregnable defense. That's how much respect he had for him. So where was all of this hate coming from? Is it because of Vasily Lomachenko fanboys trying to compare him to Floyd? Because if that's the case, if you're so-called alphas, you allow yourself to become beta by allowing yourself to be deluded by other fucking betas. Because guys in the comment sections, that's what they are. 99% of them on this planet are deluded. They are fucking betas by fucking nature. Pure fucking beta supremes. So if you've allowed your mind to be deluded by that, then you're a fucking beta too. Because when it's all said and done, we have to call a spade here, man. And what is the spade that we have to call? Teofimo Lopez has always been a super duper high job variation that didn't want no free smoke with Vasily Lomachenko, that was afraid with the fact that Vasily Lomachenko in the get back was going to figure his ass out. Because that's what was happening in the second half of the fight. He was figuring out the timing. He was figuring shit out. Sometimes fighters, they start off slowly. They start off gingerly because they're respecting the opponent in front of them. Teofimo Lopez has power, so it's respectable and understanding for him to respect him. And then to find out the motherfucker had a shoulder problem on top of that, we got to give this motherfucker credit. But see, we ain't going to go into all of that. But at the same time, we have to talk about all of that. Because in contextualizing it, Bob Arum realized he made a pivotal error. Now, maybe he is starting to get old and see now, because the old car salesman, aka Shiesty motherfucker that I know, would not make a decision like that. So Bob Arum is feeling some type of way, and that's why he has the super duper high job variation in court litigations right now. If I was Bob Arum, I would tell Teofimo Lopez, you better bend the proverbial fucking knee, or you know what? Your ass ain't fighting no more. Because now you done embarrassed me. You done fucked up my whole Top Rank Strange movement. So now I'm going to fuck your rabbit ass up. Because he has to teach him the cardinal rule of you can't bite the hand that feeds you. But at the same time, Bob Arum deserves it. And I know people are like, damn, he knows the sport is saying that. I can't believe he said he deserves it. Because the chickens have come to roost. You've done people wrong enough. Wrong is going to find you. This is what the good book says. You reap what you fucking sow. It's just so interesting that it comes in the form of a hand of a super duper high job variation and his loud, stinking ass mouth dad. Rigorou, another fucking pure fucking beta supreme. But in that instance, that one moment, that one alpha moment he had where he checked Teofimo Lopez's dad and he said, you know what? I learned being around the Warren Buffetts and all these motherfuckers, you have to have patience. Even though he didn't even follow that whole message in of itself. And you got to learn when to be fucking quiet. These guys are chapping all over the place. They're barking, but look at the fights that they're going after. This is why, the sport told you guys, 135, the lightweight division, it went from its luster, its esteem, its prestige of us saying Tank versus Loma. You remember when when Loma was the elder statesman? This is what we were talking about. To now it's in the gutter. Now we're dealing with email champion Devin Haney's. Now we're dealing with super duper high job variation. Now we're dealing with Ryan clout chasing Garcias of the fucking worlds. This is what 135 has turned to. And if boxing fans were smart, instead of trying to get on Gervonta Tank Davis, and yes, Gervonta Tank Davis did a boneheaded decision, and he made a boneheaded situation in of itself. He knows the sport can't excuse that, but that shit happened so many fucking months ago. And he's an alpha in molding and training. He's learning under the footstool, the tutorship, and the school mastership of Floyd Money Mayweather. And I know Floyd got the keys to the kingdom to teach him a thing or two. And he's going to continue to do that as long as he gets away from the ultimate pure fucking beta supreme ways of Adrian Broner. But see, this is what we're talking about when we said 135 turned to shit. Because when you crown a super duper hype job variation, your 135 pound weight class becomes a whole as a super duper hype job variation weight class outside of Gervonta Tank Davis. This is why Tank had to go to 140. Because of this nonsense. I gotta ride a little bit on this one, man. Because when it's all said and done, a lot of shit happened here. Bob Arum is starting to show his age. The chickens are also coming to roost on his rabbit ass. And at the same time, a super duper hype job variation, which is the biggest bust, the biggest hype job in fucking boxing, is doing what He Knows His Sport told you guys he would do from day one. And a prediction, King strikes again. And a prediction, King strikes again. What's that? Be a super duper hype job variation. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat true telefashion. I keep the foot on the whoop on the next. I keep the foot on the whoop on the next. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.